All right, welcome everybody. This is the Fundamentals of Digital Photography. Welcome to the class. My name is John Greengo. What you are about to experience is the first of a 10-part series on photography. You need zero experience at this point right now. Everyone is welcome. I think everyone will enjoy this first class no matter what your skill level is. But this class is for anyone who wants to learn more about photography. And I have geared this class mostly for people who want to learn how to manually control their camera. So if you've purchased a digital SLR or you're thinking about doing it, this is who's going to get the most out of the class. If you have a point-and-shoot camera, you'll still get a lot out of this class, and the point-and-shoot cameras of today are pretty cool because a lot of those cameras have manual controls. You can get in and control the shutter speed and aperture, so there's a lot of things that you can do with those. But as you see as we work through this class, there is so much more that you can do with an SLR. If you like photography, you're going to probably want to get into that next level up because it just opens up this incredible world. And it's something that has just totally been infatuated me my entire life. And I'm very much like Chase in my enthusiasm for photography. And like Chase as well, I want to use the latest technologies to help teach you. And so the class that I teach, I think, is fundamentally different than what I have seen any of the other teachers out there teaching. Just the way that I present it is a little bit different. I'm using special presentation software to help illustrate things. I'm a very visual person, and I like to see things in front of me and explain things. So when we talk about shutter speeds, you're going to see exactly how shutter speeds work or depth of field. You're going to get a good explanation of how and why it works, and then how to use it in the field. So today's class is the first class of 10. And I'll have to admit that today's class is a bit different than the rest of the other classes. Personally, I like today. Today's kind of fun. It's just an easy class. There's probably not any notes you need to take. This is mostly a sit, enjoy, and get orientated in photography type class. We're going to start wanting to pull out the notebook and start taking copious notes next week. So the first class is a directional class. So this is something that you can just sit back and enjoy. So you saw the list of 10 classes. This first one is what I call the photographer's eye. You may have heard this term used from time to time. Oh, he's got a really good photographer's eye, or oh, she's good with the camera. What is that exactly does that mean? And that's what I kind of want to explore in this class. And to start with, I'm going to start with a little bit of a personal note on photography. And this is an opinion. I realize that this is not fact, but it's fact for me. And that is, quite frankly, photography is the coolest thing in the world. I totally love photography. I dig it. It's changed my life in so many ways. And if I had to prove the point, this is maybe how I would do it. We've got super cool gadgets. It leads you to adventurous locations, and it leads you on expeditions of unsorted natures. Whether you like the beach, the mountains, the desert, or the forest, you can do photography wherever you go. Whether you're into the birds and the bees, or maybe you like trains, planes, and automobiles. Doesn't matter your interest, photography can just be simply added to that interest. Maybe you like cute, cuddly things or creepy, crawly things. Photography is a great way to document and collect those. Maybe you like to capture emotions, like happiness, or perhaps love, curiosity, or maybe shock. Maybe you're concerned about climate change. Maybe you just want to document local changes. Photography is a great tool for sharing ideas. Maybe you got lots of friends. Maybe you got no friends at all. Doesn't matter. The camera can still come out anytime you want. Sometimes you see things, well, that just have to be captured in a picture. There's no other way. Maybe you like taking pictures of work. Maybe you like taking pictures of fire. I like taking pictures of fireworks. Maybe you're curious about unusual rocks, or maybe sea stars, or perhaps just rock stars. Maybe you like bicycles. Maybe you like fruit stands. All right, what the hell am I talking about? Bicycles, fruit stands? There's no connection. Maybe a bicycle fruit stand? Maybe you like to ride the subway without your pants. Maybe you like to wear your pants and sit in a fire. Or maybe you have a bit more of a Zen-like nature to your life. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter what you do. Photography can be a part about what you are. It'll help you see the world in a new way. It'll invite you on different experiences that you would not normally have had. It'll introduce you to people that you might not have gone up to before. It's a great way to enrich your life. And so that's my pitch on why I think photography is so cool. Now, before you embark on an adventure in photography, however big or however small it is, I want to give you a preview of what your life can be like. So I found this on the internet. I can't say that I completely invented it, but I saw it and I had to tweak it like everything else. I had to adjust it to my former reality. And this is what you can expect in your life as a photographer. Now, I'm going to chart this, and I like to chart and graph and pie-shape different things in life. And you start out with a point-and-shoot camera, and you get your first SLR, and eventually you get a tripod, and maybe you get a professional critique of your work, which probably leads to a second SLR. And you have this long and illustrious life with your cameras until some point at the very bitter end. Now, on the left-hand margin, we're going to check your skill level, because you get better as you go along and you get more experience. And the first way we're going to take a look at this is your knowledge level of photography. And it's true. You are not born knowing anything at all. You got to learn it one way or the other. And so the same is true with photography. As you're using that green auto zone on your camera, you don't know much. But when you take that first photo class and you use manual, you'll start learning a lot. But unfortunately, every time they introduce new equipment, it takes a hit. And then you got to take another workshop or another class. And then they introduce new software. And that sets you back. And so you're constantly battling all these new things that are coming out. And so you have to keep staying educated. You have to keep taking classes to learn more, to stay current. And so that's what you can expect if you want to keep your knowledge level up. Now, the next area we're going to look at is the quality of photos you take. How good a photographer are you going to be? Well, once again, you start off at nothing. You start off terrible, and you quickly get better. The more you go out and shoot, the better you get. And when you do take that first photo class, it is going to take a definite spike upwards. But then it takes this spike downwards. As soon as you discover Photoshop and HDR photography, and you start getting mixed up in really complicated areas. But it comes back. And so the quality of your photos very much parallels your knowledge base. So the more you know, the better photographer you're going to be. And so you can look forward to taking much better pictures in the future. Now, we are going to look at one other area, and that is how good you think you are. All right? Now, unlike the other ones, it doesn't start down there at nothing. Oftentimes, it starts up here. People think that they're really good. Well, at least if I owned a camera, I would be a really good photographer because I have a great eye. I know what would be a good photograph. And this thinking usually continues right about the time till they get their first camera. And then all of a sudden, they start realizing, hey, there's more to this than I ever expected. But not to worry, it does flatten out here for a bit. And so for quite a while, you're going to think you suck. That's just the way it is. And eventually, with more experience and more learning, you'll eventually feel pretty good about what you do. Unfortunately, you'll have a bad day, and then you might have a good day. And this goes on and off again, and this is somewhere where I am. So one day I'm okay, and the next day I suck. And hopefully at the end, you'll feel all right about your skill set. And so this is something kind of fun that I think hopefully gets you adjusted for what you're about to experience. So this next section, which is really the rest of the class today, is called The Photographer's Eye. And I think it's a fun little way to look at the way a photographer looks at the world. And as you can tell, I do like to have fun with my graphics. So first off, let's define the premise that we're talking about here. What is a photographer's eye? Well, this is my definition at least. It's the skill of determining what would make a good photograph. And surprise, surprise, not everything makes a good photograph, okay? And an experienced photographer will be able to look around and quickly decide whether it's worth taking a picture of or not. And so I see it. A photographer's role is really in looking at the world and becoming a translator and deciding what's going to make a good photograph. You can't And you shouldn't waste your time trying to take pictures of something that just isn't going to come out. It's better for you to move on and find something that will turn out. And that's what today's class is about, is discovering what sort of things it's good to invest your time in and what sort of things is maybe just left best to some other form. Maybe video, maybe making a sculpture, maybe writing a poem about the experience might be better than a photograph. It depends on the situation.